I was walking by and I noticed this tank has got some stuff going on in it. Happened pretty quick. It's got some diatoms growing on the glass. The bottom's just covered in some funk. And I did find a couple bristleworms. They must have came out of the rock that I was cooking for like 2 weeks. I pulled them out. Now, if I get bristleworms in here, I don't care. They're a critical part of your cleanup crew. They will scale up in numbers depending how bad you're overfeeding, and if you're underfeeding, they will slowly die off. They're a very versatile cleanup crew, but they are unsightly. But they will not harm any of your corals in any way. Right after I filmed the first video, I did throw some fish food in here. There was 2 times a couple days apart that I fed the fish, and I just threw a small pinch of flake in one day, and the next day a small little drip of frozen food. Now in the beginning, we put ammonia in, and that's normally all I do is ammonia for a fuel source for our bacteria, and I'll put some food in there too, so we can get the full cycle going. But this time, I think I'm going to do something different, just to see if it speeds the process up at all. Because right now, we're done. We just have to wait. But I have nitrate and phosphate. So I am going to put a little bit of nitrate in and a little bit of phosphate. Because we want this to be a complete ecosystem day one. Even though we're just trying to start our own nitrogen cycle, we still want it to be a healthy ecosystem. So we need nitrate and phosphate as well. So I'm going to clean this all up. We're going to scrape the glass. In all honesty, I might let the funk on the bottom for a little while, but I'm going to clean the sides. And I'm going to take a turkey baster and blow any funk off my rock. And I'm going to add some nitrate and phosphate. I've been debating on adding a wave maker. I'm not going to go out and buy a real expensive small one, but these are the same brand they sell at Petco, but you can get them off Amazon for like $12 a piece for the small one. I'm debating on using that, but it will be overpowered for this aquarium. So instead of putting it down low, I will probably place it up higher and angle it up towards the top to diffuse some of that energy before it hits the coral. But I do have smaller wave makers I can use. So we'll see. We're not there yet. Alright, I pulled it out quick. This is another cheap wave maker they sell off Amazon, where that one for $12 is pretty powerful, and that's the smallest one. They make bigger ones. This is probably the biggest one in this style, and it don't have a lot of power at all. This is perfect for really tiny aquariums where you think that's going to be too strong. But these are great. They're magnets. They stick right to your glass. That the way they're designed, they don't get dirty as fast as that style. They stay fairly clean, and because it has a controller, you can set multiple functions. You can change the length of your wave. You can make it a random wave mode. It's actually pretty cool, but they don't have a lot of power. That's probably the one I'm going to use. But I do believe that this one is like $50 or $60, possibly. Now this is typically the scraper that I use. I get these at Petco. There's a million scrapers that you can use, but I never scratch the glass with this one. Some of them are very easy to scratch your glass with. We use a Petco scraper. Our lid's gonna need wiped off. Pretty gross. We're also going to add some fresh water because we do not have a float valve on here to the water tower. Now, obviously, if there was an animal in here, you don't want to just dump a ton of fresh water on top of it. But in the ocean, the salinity and temperature swings are so vast. I mean, an animal can be swimming in 80-degree weather, and in seconds, it can be in something that's high 60s. So don't be afraid to dump your fresh water in. We'll rinse this off under the sink. All right, get that dried off. We're gonna put a squirt of nitrate in there. This is potassium nitrate, which also adds potassium, and corals love potassium. You just gotta make sure your levels aren't too high, because it can hurt them. Yeah, maybe a little more. Tiny bit of phosphate. Phosphate's really strong, so you only need a little bit. Maybe a couple more drops of ammonia. Now we'll be pretty confident that we've fed our bacteria. And one more thing, Julian Sprung makes a mini magnetic cleaner. Now this will not get the really hard stuff off, but if you do it every day or every other day, it will keep your glass clean. These are pretty handy. Alright, now that that's all cleaned up, that's all there really is to do is wait again. But I probably could put corals in here if I did a nice water change, like 50%, and then I did a quick set of chemistry tests, just hobbyist grade here at my house, to make sure everything's okay. I believe I could put some corals in there, and then probably next week put some fish, some snails and fish and hermit crabs next week. And I'll show you why. Now my quarantine system is over here, and it is currently completely full. Most of this stuff is way past quarantine. I'm confident that everything in here is clean, but these LPS, like the open brain lobophilia, the open brain trichophilia, and the closed brain lobophilia back there, these Wilson eyes, the branching lobophilia, all this stuff loves this tank so much that I do not want to move it. So I kind of lost my quarantine to all this super high end LPS. So, and I just ran into an issue in my display, and I need a quarantine tank. But luckily, we're cycling one. We're cycling a tank. These zoas here. Well, lately, I've been turning up the light on this tank because some things needed it, and it started growing some algae, which I was expected. I'm just gonna put more snails in there. But one problem in this little zoa collection here, I bought a worldwide corals, some kind of branching monopora, or sorry, branching anacropora. It's a red one. I believe it's the Manila spot, but it wasn't doing so good when I first got it. So I grabbed it out of quarantine and I threw it in here, my display tank. I do not cut frags out of here. My goal is to let all this stuff just grow into each other and become a giant mess. So I don't cut frags out of here. So I threw it in here because this tank's very stable, and I set it right in the middle of my zoas where it wasn't getting a lot of light. And I found an aptasia on it. I pulled it out, cut the plug off, gave it a new plug, and then the coral all but died. It is now just barely coming back, but it's coming back. Throughout that whole process for that one stupid coral, there's now little baby aptasias popping up in my zoanthic garden. Now these are very hard to see because they are such tiny babies that I'm not even sure if I could show you one. Right there's one as I shake the camera. Right there's another one. You can't really see it. Then I found a third one. Can't see it because it's hiding inside the rostas right there. That's the biggest one. So I've looked everywhere in the tank. My worst fear was that the aptasias are already in my overflow piping. But I've searched everywhere, and the only ones I can find are these three babies. So, just in case it's not too late, there's a very good chance after you find one that your whole entire tank and your pipes are infested. Well, mine are all so small that the problem may still be localized right here in this zoanthic garden. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up our brand new tank we just cycled. Honestly, my first thought was to grab all them rocks of zoanthids and throw them in the trash. I don't like zoanthids, and I have a ton of them. But second thought, I thought it was a good opportunity to see if we can fix this problem before it gets too big. Alright guys, I decided to choose the $12 Aqueon pump. I didn't say that right. Aqueon? I don't know. Alright guys, I decided to use this $12 or $13 $12 or $13 circulation pump I got off Amazon. This is the brand they sell at Petco. I chose this one because it's got a lot more power and beginning stages of the aquarium that will help us keep it clean. So after this tank is cycled, there's a chance I will take that off and I will put this mini controllable wave maker on and I'll set it to like a random wave mode. But for now, this is what I chose to go with. We got Anemone Alley. Whole ton of anemones.